We're sitting in front of what is now being recognized worldwide as one of the most significant historic pipe organ installations in the 21st century. Today, we will briefly attempt to let you see and hear just a few of the limitless possibilities and facets of this phenomenal instrument. Musicians throughout the world recognize the profound importance of a good acoustical space in authentic worship, and it cannot be emphasized enough that the natural qualities of a room can make or break musical, spiritual, and human aesthetic experiences. And when those experiences are put in the context of great music, liturgy, congregational and choral music, the results subtly and often profoundly change lives, perceptions, and human emotions, and give a sense of stability and continuity in an overtly chaotic and sometimes intellectually dishonest world. Any individual who enters this space is immediately emotionally affected by the vast expanse of these enormous windows that allow us to experience the daily changes in light, the seasons, and the natural world beyond this space. The perfection of the acoustical properties and unique, unlimited tonal colors of this organ, in combination with the visual aesthetics of the room, create a spiritual palette that can be overwhelming. Most of the parishioners in this place willingly admit that miracles still happen, and you will hear a few of the remarkable sequence of events that took place in the resurrection of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Amarillo from a devastating fire that completely destroyed the nave, parish hall, and the original organ. I introduce you now to Margaret Lacy, who was here prior to the fire and throughout the extensive process of rebuilding the church. And it is no exaggeration to say that she played a significant role in the maintaining of the highest level of quality and integrity in the building planning, the acoustics, and as she will tell you, this miraculous story of the acquisition, restoration, and installation of this remarkable Aeolian Skinner organ. Can you give us a brief sequence of events that occurred during the procurement of the Aeolian Skinner organ from the University of Texas in Austin?
One day, a friend of mine who sang in the choir, in the bell choir, came up to me and said, "My father knows of an organ that is not being used at the University of Texas. Would you talk to him about it?" And I said yes, but I hadn't gotten around to it. And I went into my office one day, and there on my desk were the specifications for this organ. And I really went ballistic. I thought, my goodness, well, what would be the matter with it that something like this would be available? Got it on good authority that even though they hadn't used the organ and it had sat silent for 10 to 15 years, it was not for sale. So I called Beth and said, "Tell your father thank you, but I don't think that it's for sale." And he called me the next morning before I'd had my first cup of coffee, and he said, "Margaret?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "This is Bob Rapp in Austin. What do you think of Aeolian Skinner organs?" And I said, "Me personally?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I guess I think when we get to heaven, Bach will be playing one." So he said, "Well, then you're the person that should have it, and I'm going to help you get it." I talked with Jack Bethards of Schoenstein when it got close enough that I thought it might be a possibility that would become a reality, to see if he would install it and do the restoration if we got it. And so then when the university said yes, they would sell it, I went to the vestry and told them about the organ, and they voted on what amount we could bid. The church issued a bid, and eventually the organ was ours, and we took it out of UT, stored it in what was now the old St. Anthony Hospital downtown in the surgical room, and then moved it, and finally it went to San Francisco and then here.
It's a known fact, and it's no exaggeration, that prominent organists and musical groups from all over the world regularly contact you requesting an invitation to perform in this space and play this instrument. What is it about this place and this particular organ that is becoming such an attraction to these individuals?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. It's the environment of St. Andrews and the Amarillo community. The space is wonderful. It's aesthetically inspiring. The acoustic, we had Chanticleer here. The King's Singers. Vocal groups love it. String players love it. Tokyo String Quartet, they came in, played 2 or 3 notes and went, wow. Leipzig String Quartet. There have been so many, and whether it's vocal or whether it's ensembles, instrumental ensembles, certainly an organist because of the instrument. Really waited for 61 years to hear this instrument, because at UT it was buried and all of the beautiful sounds never got out to the people like they do here. I think also it is the response of Amarillo to the artist. They're very astute audience. They love music. They love the arts. They're very appreciative. The FASO organization, Friends of Aeolian Skinner, really is the organization or the instrument through which we've been able to bring in world-class performers. We've brought some of the best in almost every field here to do concerts. And I think no matter what it is, something speaks to the people who come. And, you know, I a long time ago decided that secular, sacred, God works through all of it, and He speaks to the person who's sitting there listening to the music. And it doesn't really matter what the occasion is. And I think that's something we're growing into as a church, as a community, as an organization, to really understand that the arts have a place in inspiring people and making it a better world.
I can say with all honesty that I have heard more great music here. The instrumental ensembles and of course the organists, and the content of the quality of the musicians. In the few years that I have been up here, I've heard more great music here than I heard in the past 30 years living in a major metropolitan city. And I say that absolutely honestly. I am constantly moved by this space, just sitting and listening and watching the artists create, watching them, walk in here from wherever they came from, and they're going to relate this room to their last experience, and they always say, this is worth it, this was better than anything we expected, coming to Amarillo, Texas. And no matter what we would say about this instrument and this room, they have to get here to really feel it.
That's correct.
Going through the rebuilding process, which can be, you cannot really describe what it takes to rebuild a church, and the emotional impact to a community and the traditions, especially in the Episcopal Church, simply cannot be put into words. And when all that is gone, it is like a death in the family. And to ride that out and go through the process of rebuilding another place of worship for people to start building their family traditions is a lifetime achievement. And you just don't experience this kind of thing all the time.
Well, your words are very kind, but that doesn't happen because of one person, and it happens because a community wants it. And the people here are really extraordinary in that way, and the FASO board has been extraordinary. Certainly, I can't emphasize enough the role that the clergy and the leadership of the church with the vestry play in how successful any ministry can be in the church. It's rare to be able to plan a building and a space and an organ all in one entity starting from scratch.
For anyone who experiences liturgy and music and worship in this space, there's an emotional intimacy and a very strong sense of spiritual community, and yet a profound and very often emotional impact from the light and the openness of this space. Did you and the planners and architects have any idea this space would be so emotionally, aesthetically, and spiritually significant?
Well, you know, no. We knew it would be really good, that it would be a landmark situation, world-class project, but there were some surprises, and one of the surprises is how the beauty that is seen through the windows affects what's happening in worship and in concerts that are offered. I can think in particular of lightning, very powerful dramatic effects in the evening that somehow tied in to powerful music that was going on at the time. I don't know how anybody thinks of that ahead of time, but it's just one of those wonderful things that it makes it very magical and way beyond what anyone could have conceived of. It takes an aesthetic that is awe-inspiring and a beautiful instrument, and I've been told over and over again in all different kinds of ways how much it touches people who hear it, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?